Hello everybody and welcome to a test hand video for my branded Predaplant list. A lot of you were asking for this and I really should have made it sooner. I love doing test hands. I love figuring out where you can go with this deck, and I'm happy to show you guys some of the few things I've learned. Thank you for suggesting it in the comments. I really love that. I recognize a quick note. It might be weird to see me responding under my personal account, but I don't use the channel, the Buyer's Bunch channel account that much to browse or respond to comments, so hope you don't mind that. But that being said, let's shuffle up real quick and get right into it. If you have not watched the updated deck list video, hopefully, I believe if I have my head on straight and have my cards all lined up, you should be able to go to the channel, Buyer's Bunch, like and subscribe. Go to the channel uploads and you should be able to find an updated list. There are not a ton of changes I've made since the last video, but there are some pretty important ones that I think you should watch and learn from. So that being said, let's get right into it and deal out 5. Okay, I never assume I'm going second in a test hand. It just seems weird, but let's see what we got. We have Scorpio, Light Hex Sealed Fusion, Branded Opening, love to see that, Gamma, and we opened the Buffalicula. Okay? So with this one, this seems like a pretty good hand. Let me just think for a second. I believe what I would do with this is I would go Branded Opening Start, because that's the only real time that we're going to be able to use this Gamma. And if they decide to use something on opening and we just get to Gamma them, that's pretty good. As it is, this guarantees us a little something. We're going to pitch the Light Hex Sealed Fusion. And we're going to get ourselves an Owlbear in defense position, which is going to search us out a Branded Fusion. Now, right here is interesting. You could at this point go Branded Fusion, send Ramarin, get an extra card in hand, and then just have a card. You know what, let's do that. So we'll activate Branded Fusion here. We will obviously send Fallen of Albaz, but we will also send Stay Sailor Ramarin. We will summon Albion the Brand. Hard to see. Oh, that's fine. Summon Albion the Branded Dragon. A quick note on Extra Monster Zone. You really just want to have something in the Extra Monster Zone and then lean all your monsters toward that side so you don't get relinquished Anima, but it's not that big of a deal. Albion. So we'll do Albion Chain 1, Stay Sailor Chain 2. So Stay Sailor will send a Biblisp. And Albion will fuse this Light Hex Sealed Fusion with this Fallen of Albaz, which gives us Dragoon. Oh my gosh, I'm so... Oh, I hit my camera. That's very bad. Okay, everything seems fine though. Biblisp will now search us any Predaplant. We are going to search... Because we already have Buffalicula, we're going to search out a Sundew. The reason for this is we now can just normal the Sundew, and we can keep this Gamma back to be discarded by Dragoon. So we will normal summon the Sundew. We will activate the Sundew's effect. We will fuse it with it and the Scorpio. Dragoon, stop that. You're not going anywhere. Into Amulet Melodies. Amulet Melodies effect to search out our Predaplanting. And then here's the interesting one. I prefer here, you could Amulet Melodies itself, but I prefer here to Amulet Melodies the Owlbear, which guarantees it into the graveyard for next turn as an interruption if they get rid of one of our fusion monsters. You could do the Amulet Melodies, but I think this is definitely the play. But Amulet Melodies effect to special from deck. We don't need the Cobra because we have already Branded Fusioned. We have already done our Predaplant combos. The only reason we would want Cobra at this point is so we could grab Super Poly. But the problem with Super Poly is we only have so many cards in our hand, and we want to make sure that we can keep cards in our hand for Dragoon. So instead what I'm going to grab is Saraceniant. Okay? I'm going to scale the Buffalicula, We'll do Bufollicula effect, fuse the Saracenians and the Albion into a Dragostapelia. And then we will set our Predaplanting. We will go to the end phase. Oh, sorry. Predaplant Saracenians effect goes off. We will add a Predaprime fusion. We will set the Predaprime fusion. I'll flip these up. And then the end phase, Albion will grab us our branded banishment. Okay? This is a solid board. This is a very good board. And the reason is we actually managed to keep Ambular Melodies on the field. Having an extra fusion monster on the field is very, very useful. Because what you can do here is on your opponent's turn, you can banishment, special summon Albion, and either fuse with one of their things to make another Dragostapelia, or you can fuse with the melodies to make Starving Venom Predapower Fusion Dragon. With Predaplanting and with Dragostapelia on the field, you now have 2 Omni Negates in the form of Dragoon. So you have options here. You also have the Predaprime Fusion if, for example, instead of summoning something with only your monsters, you special summon the Albion and fuse with one of their stuff, one of their things, say you're playing Tyr, to make Predapower. You can now Predaprime Fusion to cycle your Dragostapelias into, you know, another Dragostapelia. Alternatively, you could do that first. You could Predaprime to make Dragostapelia and then just revive Dragostapelia. You have so many options in this. Oh, I dropped a card. Come here, Ambular Melodies. Ugh. You have so many options with this board that it's really quite fun. And you have a card in hand to discard to Dragoon. You have a send-off Predaplanting to get, if you get to keep your Gamma, you have a send-off Predaplanting to grab another Scorpio for follow-up. This is a really resilient board. So yeah, so that's test hand number 1. And let's get into test hand number 2. I'm actually going to make a transition of some sort. So see you on the flip side. All right, moving on to test hand number 2. Let's get to it. So we have Branded Fusion. Love to see that. Branded Opening. Hex Sealed Fusion. Alubear. Ugh, this branded opening is now dead. It's not the end of the world. We have a Predapractice. So this is an okay going first hand. You're going to have some problems because you've drawn 2 of your bricks. But hopefully we can figure that out. This is not a great going second hand because you have no interruptions, but going first, we might be able to salvage something. Unfortunately, we're going to be very fragile. We have no ability to protect our combos, so we're just going to have to hope our opponent doesn't have anything. So we'll first Branded Fusion. Now, what's interesting here is we have still drawn the Light Hex Sealed Fusion, which means we can actually send Stay Sailor Romarin and a Fallen of Albaz. We will make Albion. But, whereas before we would have to banish this and make Mirror Jade, oh no, a backup plan of making Mirror Jade. Here, we can actually, well, okay, I guess technically, Stay Sailor Chain 2 to send Biblisp. But we can still banish the Hex Sealed Fusion and Albaz to make Dragoon. And now we have a way of unlocking these 2 bricks in our hands because these 2 bricks were previously not doing anything. Now we can actually get some graveyard material. If we send Branded Opening with Dragoon to negate something, we have a destruction prevention. If we send Alubear, we have a possible negate. So Dragoon actually unlocks this hand a little bit, somewhat. And then what also unlocks this hand is this Biblisp send, which gets us probably Sundew at this point. Scorpio isn't as good because if they stop the Scorpio, you have no way to fuse. But if you have Sundew with this Predapractice, even if they stop the Predapractice, you can still normal the Sundew, which is fine. So we are going to Predapractice for Sundew. Now, what you actually can do here, funny enough, is you could just add Predaplanting off this practice, fuse with these to make Dragostapelia, which does perfectly fine, but let's see if we can add a little more oomph to this. We're just going to add a Scorpio because it's a useless plant. We're going to fuse these 2 to get melodies. Melodies effect to search. We will search Predaplanting. And then melodies effect, attribute itself. Special summon Cobra. Cobra effect to grab Predaplant Fusion. Now, this doesn't look that different. You can go you can now just go Predaplant Fusion, fuse these two, and make Dragostapelia, and you're essentially where you started. But the flexibility of adding Predaplant Fusion here means if you don't mind the branded banishment, or actually from here, we have not normaled yet, so if the Predaprax goes through, you just normal Owlbear, special add banishment. I guess in that case, if we normaled Owlbear, we would tribute the Owlbear and not the melodies, so that the board looks like this. Add banishment. Now, you don't need to send this Albion now. You already have your trap cards. So what you can actually do is just set these 3. You still have a card in hand for the Dragoon. Set these 3, and now you are protected from Dark Ruler. If they Dark Ruler, you can just Predaprime into Dragostapelia from here, which is pretty useful. And you can chain it such that if you don't mind popping or Predaplanting a little early, if they summon like Diva or something, you can Predaplanting chain 2 and then chain Predaprime Fusion to it. And you will be able to stop the Diva because you'll summon Dragostapelia as chain 3. Chain 2, Predaplanting will put a counter on it. And by that time, Dragostapelia's effect is a continuous effect. So it still will negate the Diva. You don't lose that much, but you gain the ability of flexibility and speed, and in the off chance that you really, really want to summon Trifio Verutum, you can summon Trifio Verutum off of this. So it was a little more convoluted, and if we thought that our opponent had hand traps, we probably wouldn't go that way. We would just do the safer route. But the way this ended up, we have a lot more flexibility. Okay, so we'll do one more test hand, which you will transition to right now. Wee-hee! All right, on to test hand. Hopefully we don't draw Light Hex Sealed Fusion this time, which has happened every time thus far. So far we have, Driver, Albaz, Bufalicula, Super Poly, Biblisp. So funny enough, this hand would actually be a lot better if we were going second, because we could get an extra card. We would Super Poly away their board and then send the Biblisp to grab Scorpio. But let's imagine we're going first. So this hand is a little strange. But I guess we can do this. We can scale Bufalicula. Bufalicula effect to fuse Albaz and Biblisp to summon Lubellion. Lubellion chain 1, Biblisp chain 2. Lubellion pitch Super Poly as cost, unfortunately. We need this driver, surprisingly. Biblisp effect, we're going to search out. Not a Biblisp. We actually are not allowed to do that. Search out a Scorpio. And then Lubellion, we're just going to shuffle the Albaz and the Lubellion back in. For a Mirror Jade. Oh no, our backup is Mirror Jade. How terrible. Okay. We have not normal summoned. We will normal summon Scorpio. We will pitch this driver. We will special summon Climato Sundew. We will use Climato Sundew's effect to fuse with these 2 to make Ambulo Melodies. Now, here's the interesting thing. We have no fodder is the problem. We have no other monster to fuse with this Ambulo Melodies. So we will not actually be able to make a ton. This is a situation where you might make Chimera Flesia, but I think we at least can grab Predaplanting. And then if we use Ambulo Melodies effect on itself, tribute itself to summon Cobra. Cobra effect allows us to search out Predaprime Fusion, and now we at least have a Mirror Jade with Predaprime Fusion and Predaplanting set And so at the very least, we can Mirror Jade banish something. We can, if we need to, we can Predaprime fusion the Mirror Jade and the Cobra to make a Dragostapelia, and then we have Predaplanting as a skill drain. It's not great, but this is 1, 2, 3-ish interruptions, considering that our opening hand was really where was it? Oh, it was Albaz. Our opening hand, if you recall, was 3 bricks, right? You don't want to draw Albaz, you don't want to draw Driver, you don't want to draw Buffalicula, and a going second card. So if we're going first, this was a hand of 4 pretty useless cards. But we managed to make it work because this deck can use its bricks in many situations. Driver, not super great to draw, but at worst, it's discard fodder for something. Discard fodder for Super Poly, discard fodder for Scorpio, discard fodder for Albaz, discard fodder for Lubellion, discard fodder for branded openings. So it's not, it doesn't, the bricks in this deck don't end up being that game ending because you at least have a lot of stuff that can make use of discards. And in fact, drawing Albaz along with Buffalicula is not terrible either because it's the only instance where a generic generic polymerization is actually useful. I guess in the previous one we didn't use... Alright, that test hand wasn't great because we actually could have gone into Cobra and then you found a branded fusion because we hadn't used branded fusion yet. That would actually probably would have been better. But it's water under the bridge now. There are a lot of options when you're starting a bricky hand. So I hope those test hands helped. The general theme is you want to be able to get from one package into the other package. And if you have both, if you have branded fusion and the Predaplants, you want to use your searches off of Cobra and stuff like that to find protection for your stuff. So if you have branded fusion and your Predaplants, you can go into instant fusion, go into Millennium Eyes Restrict, or you can use your branded fusion really early to go into Dragoon to protect your Predaplants. There are a lot of options in this deck. So I hope that was helpful. Please ask more questions in the comment. I was talking to my wife. It's absolutely insane that both of my previous deck profiles have over 1,000 views. That is just incomprehensible to me. I honestly, when I made these videos, I didn't think anybody was actually going to watch these, right? Like, I was just making this because I was excited about the deck. I wanted to at least have me talking about it and get my thoughts down onto some sort of medium. And I'm just blown away by the number of people who have watched these videos. Thank you so much. The number of subscribers, it's still 25, but that's double what I had a month ago. And again, this is not even that much of video. YouTube is not even that much of a hobby. It's really just sort of my way of journaling. It's my way of recording my thoughts about different things or recording my experiences with my brothers and my friends in video games. But to have people actually want to watch that is just nuts to me. So again, I know I'm ending this on sort of a sentimental note, but really, thank you. And I'll see you in the next video.